We all have yarns that we love to work with, smooth, wonderful experience, and then we've got those yarns that are very difficult to work with, and this is true in hand knitting and machine knitting. And in this case, I'm talking about circular machine knitting, no matter the brand that you have. For me, the yarns that will not cooperate are Herrschner's Worsted 8 and Red Heart Super Saver. And quite frankly, they feel about the same. They are rough, they don't slide against one another, and therefore they will hang up on the machines and give me tuck stitches and skip stitches. Now, if you have a brand of yarn that's difficult for you to work with on your circular knitting machine, no matter the brand, the secret is weight, and a lot of it. Basically, I will make a ponytail out of the fabric that I've created and then place something really heavy. In this case, it is a half-pound bean bag. But we'll talk about different options later after the video. Let me go ahead and show you the first couple of steps before you get to the point where you can actually make it into a little gathered ponytail there so that you can plop your weight in, and then it will give you even pull all the way around. You got to get to that point first. So let me show you what I do up until that point. So look, I've gotten pretty far before I'm starting to see some problems. So let's look and see what exactly is going on here. To understand how the process works, you've got a color coming in front of the teeth right here. And the goal is for the needle to come up. Let's do it slowly. The needle should come up and push that first color off, and then there's a black color right under there that should pop up and go over the teeth. But wait, it's hanging. Can you see it hanging right there? It's hanging against the needle, and it should be already popping down, sliding across this hump right here and popping down, boom, like that. But I'm having trouble. It's beginning to hang, and if this continues, if this does not go down over those teeth, then what we're going to end up having is a tucked stitch. Okay, so the way to combat this is to apply weights. Now, that could be a number of things. I can't find my really good weights that are wider than this, but this serves as a good example. You would clip it on, clip it on to the edge of your fabric here and go all the way around, clipping as many as you can fit to add weight. Now, the problem with these difficult yarns is you can't get enough weight. Yes, you can hang some things off of this, you know, just get something and paper clip or bend it so that it's a hook and hang some more things off, but you know what? That's incredibly difficult to do, to find the things that work and whatever. All right, so you've got a head-on view now of what's going on. I'm going to take this off because this is not enough weight to do the trick. With this yarn, you need a lot of pressure and a lot of weight to make it work. So the first step can be kind of tedious, but it won't take long before I can show you the quick and fast method. So I have tension, it's hard to move my machine. It's not that it's that tight, it's just that there's this drag. The two fibers are not cooperating when they get twisted right here. They need to be looser and slide easily down over the machine. See there, it's hung and it pops down physically. I'm popping it down physically, and that's what I have to do to avoid tucking stitches. So what I normally do is I put my hands right here and I just shove it down. I just shove it down as I go, okay? And this might say, oh, Margaret, that is so tedious. Hey, if you want this stuff to work, then you've got to go ahead and apply some pressure. And once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty quickly. Whoops. I don't have my C-clamps. I really like to have C-clamps on a machine so that when you have this difficult stuff, it's not wiggling your machine all around. So there's different ways. You'll develop your own method for, you know, making sure that that gets down over the teeth. So I'm physically applying pressure. I'm shoving down the stitches as I go. Just kind of creeping my hands along, and you can see them pop down there. And I'm applying a lot. I'm really pushing hard down on here because it's not wanting to go by itself. See it hanging right there? I'm pushing it down. All right, so I am going to do this till I get just a few more inches on my fabric. Okay, so I have about 25 rows done here, so I think it's a good time to try to add this bean bag. So let me move those rocks down to the bottom, and I'm going to clip it like that. Okay, so I've clipped it on at 4 points. It may not be enough. I may need to have more attachments to make sure that it is pulling down equally. See, I see it's going slow right here. I don't know. It might be working. Okay, so it's working so much better and I don't have to do anything. It's just pulling nicely right over those teeth, which is exactly what we want to happen. So you might be looking at this and thinking, oh my goodness, it's pulling all cattywampus. It doesn't matter. It's going to eventually go back into its equal knitted shape. So it's fine. So don't worry about that in the least. Okay, I feel like I have enough to make a ponytail at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and take these clips off. And yes, it is kind of like that, but watch. By the time you start pulling on it, everything moves within each other to make it right. Now, one other thing, if you're like me and you don't have a working counter, before you put it in the ponytail, go ahead and count and place a stitch marker so that you can count from this part, from this point on. So in this case, that's 30 rows right here. So now I can make my ponytail. Got my rubber band here. And let me show you what that looks like underneath. See, it's just a little ponytail underneath there. Place my weight and continue on my merry way. And here's the finished product up close, and you can see no tuck stitches and everything went back the way it was supposed to. And it looks awesome. Red Heart Super Saver on a circular knitting machine. And here is the one done with the Hirschner's Worsted 8. Let's zoom in. And you can see not a single tuck stitch anywhere. Looks really, really good. Now, basically, weights can be anything, so you don't have to spend any money to come and get something special. So here I'm showing you on my scale what some ordinary things might weigh. That's 2.3 ounces. And understanding that you can also combine things. That says 2.4 and maybe put two things in the middle for a 4.6. In other words, you have total control with just average type things laying around your house. So look in your drawers, look around your craft room, look in your kitchen. You know, any of these things can work, or a combination of these things. Now, something that I was using was a 1 pound weight, and that might be considered overkill because it was very, very heavy and it did pull and stretch, but that's exactly what I needed for the yarn that I was using. Maybe I could have done less weight, maybe a ½ pound would have worked, I don't know, but this worked so well that I'm probably going to stick with it on my more difficult yarns. What this is actually just a bean bag. The inside is made of aquarium gravel, which is very inexpensive to buy. Alternatively, you could just go out into a corner of an intersection in a country neighborhood, and there is tons of pea gravel. Just make sure you don't get hit by a car, but you've got something that's free. What I would recommend avoiding in the craft room would be things that are people will typically say, which is rice or beans. And you know, I don't put that in anything that I craft. Number one, they're not washable, so you could wash anything that you stuff with these things. Number two, Why would you want open containers of food in a craft room or in a craft project? This is just not something that I think is a good idea personally. My substitution is pea gravel because it's so inexpensive. Actually, I'm pointing this, it's aquarium gravel. So just small rocks would be a wonderful substitution. And speaking of that, what if you get a cup? And this cup itself weighs 5.6 ounces. And you're going along and you say to yourself, you know, I need some more weight. So you could get something else like pennies, and you could put the pennies to regulate the weight that you needed. So that's probably the most versatile version of a weight that I've got out here on this table. And any little container can do, even a paper cup or something, it doesn't make any difference. The key thing is something that would help you regulate your weight. Now, of course, it may be harder to clip those weights that I just told you on the interim when you didn't have enough for the ponytail. I'm just impatient and I wanted to hurry and get to that fast cranking, so that's why I did that. But you could continue to push on the edges until you get to the ponytail length, and it works like a charm. So this worked for me. Hope it works for you. Talk to you soon. Bye.